Right, so I'm trying to take this gearbox cover off now. I've undone all the bolts for it, taken the wedge out. Then on the back here, there's 5 bolts hold going sort of through the back into that cover. So they're all undone as well. I just had to take off this the spool valves to undo the centre one. So that was fairly straightforward. A few, so I've took the selector lever off. Obviously the fuel tanks had already come off when I took after I took the cab off. So we're now trying to lift this out. Now, so I've got this sort of thing here that just hangs in there. That'll lift there. This I'm lifting off of that. Ideally, I'd like to put some little ropes through it, but I haven't got any. Because this will lift one-sidedly, unfortunately. We might adjust that once we get it up a bit. Now, to get it out of here, I need to lift it slightly front higher, so it needs to come up a little bit. So you're not lifting it totally level. It sort of slowly sort of comes up and forward and out. You do need to lift the back a bit, at least if I'm remembering it all right. Because the wedge, you see, gives you a little bit of space to move forward, which is presumably why it's in there. So at the moment, I've put a bit of pressure on. That's not overly tight. It's just sort of under pressure. But this is all silicon down, so we've got to try and break that silicon. So with that under a little bit of pressure, I'll probably try and find a lever point and just lever it or something like that. Okay, I'll do that and then start lifting the cover off. Right, so I've got a little job extra to do, which I'll do now. And what that is down in, you can't really see, it's a bit dark in there, but there's a little shaft run in the front of the engine. Come on, focus. Runs from the front of the engine, flywheel, to the front oil pump. Now that is... that had got a little problem with it, which perhaps I should have sorted out earlier. So this is the little shaft. So that end with the hole in goes into the oil pump and over that sort of sits over a nut. Then you sort of manipulate it down. This it bolts onto the crankshaft pulley. And then you position, which is a bit fiddly, this little sort of rubber thing behind it to hold it all in position. Now, what happens is you've got these 2 big O-rings that sit in a groove in this one and in the oil pump piece that this goes in. They can sometimes come loose over time. Once they're out, this is all dries out, and it can wear these teeth and the corresponding teeth in the cup that goes in quite badly, and you can get a failure. Now I have heard, I don't know where, years ago, you want to put constant velocity grease in here, which is what I do. So if you see these, they come off and start just floating around this bit of the shaft. Don't leave it too long. Take it off, fill it, clean it up, pack it all up with grease again, and put these in. So that's a little job we're on now. So I've cleaned them up, just got to put all grease in and put them into place. Okay, it's all done in there now. I've got a little light here now so you can see the shaft just about in here. So that's all packed up with grease and the little O-rings are back in their correct places. So we'll move on to the main event now, which is taking this to bits. Well, I say this to bits, it's a tiny little job really. So what we've got to do is we need to undo this wire here that's holding this. Count the turns that takes to take out so that you can put it back in the same place. Although I suspect, I'm pretty sure that's the pressure, that's how you alter the pressure, you put a pressure gauge on it. So I will adjust that, check that's correct. So we'll undo that, take that out, then I think there's a little spring behind it and then the little valve, I can't remember what you call them now, but the little moving bit in there, we'll take that out. Right, so we're just setting this up, ready to test it. I've got to put a remote fuel supply on these pipes, and just put a bit of hose pipe between them two. I should have a bit of hose. I used to have a bit of hose float. Here it is. That's the exact bit of hose. So I'll put that on there soon. Then I'll show you what I've done here. This is a shaped bit of plastic, just an old can that sits over there, and what it does when these sequence valves here release, oil comes shooting out of these, there's 3 holes in it. So obviously that sends it everywhere, so if you put that there, that keeps the oil in the gearbox. Likewise, the overflow from the relief valve comes out of here, just this edge here. So I've got this curved bit of metal that just sits there, clamped up, just stops it spraying out all over the place, just puts it back there. And then what we've got here is the pipe is in the test port there, because that's what you set this with to set the pressure correct, because obviously we've taken that out to put that new spool in that's moving about. So we'll set that. So you need to have the thing running, and you need a pressure gauge on it. So that's that. This piece of corrugated has got holes cut in it. That goes around and tucks in. Well, I've had this for years, but I'll give it a bit of a wash. But that tucks in. Hang on, let me just do that two-handed. Have a view of the tyre just for a second. God, there we go. Right, sorry about that. So that is tucks in there, as you can see. So all the oil that spins up off the clutch packs goes on there, but you can still see what's going on. So that's that. I just need a piece of, I've got a piece of plastic that I just sit at the back here that just stops the rest of that coming out. And then you've got it's a 0 to 100. Ideally that'd be a bit to 150 or something, but that's a real nice pressure gauge. I gained them. I'll show you the set here. Part of this set, I've got a feeling I got them for nothing. Someone had been given them, and they're an MOD set of pressure gauges with all test ports and everything, and they're for some. I've got a feeling it said on here what it was for, but it's for some army vehicle that they used to have. And anyway, it's got all these beautiful pressure gauges on it, the highest of which goes up to 10,000 psi. So you've got 10,000, 5,000, what's that one, 1,000 and a 600. Right, so it's ready to fire up. I've got a remote fuel supply on there now. I've got this little loop here that I can just touch on there to start spin the starter. I've put that hose on there to stop that, and I've got a pair of mole grips to the throttle cable where I can throttle it up. As far as I know, no oil's going to come flying out. If so, I'll just have to quickly stop it. But oh, and finally I've got on here, it's quite a good thing, this it used to be some sort of old flamethrower thing that you attach to a tractor, and but it's got this metal pipe here that went to the exhaust and then through sort of not capillary, but like a low pressure thing, like a spray gun. It would go over top of something, and on the end of it, it had a lance with a flamethrower, and you'd suck diesel up and burn stuff, or something like that. Anyway, that's old, but what I use it for is I now bring that pipe down here, through here. It's not quite long enough, so I just plug it in a tube and takes the diesel fumes outside. I thought that's quite a nice little touch. So we'll give it a go and see if we can start it. I've got to start it with two hands, so I'll stop this recording for the moment. Well, the good news was it started. The bad news is oil's pouring out everywhere, which I wasn't expecting. Despite that being down, completely down, it's coming out of the pipes that feed the two assister rams. So they need to go back on. That's somewhat what you might call annoying. And it looks like it might also be coming out of... It's been a while since I've done this. Yeah, it looks like it's probably coming out of this brake valve here, despite the brake not being on. So I need to put them pipes back on, probably put some more oil in it, and then have another crack. So the tractor's running, exhaust's working fine, taking most of the exhaust gases away. Engine's running, fuel. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run this, because it's getting a bit dark now, I'm just going to run this to warm the engine oil up, and I'll drain that overnight, and then tomorrow when it's bright I'll open the doors and film that the transmission working, which hopefully it will. But anyway, we'll I know why the oil was coming out. I thought the lever, or the thing that works the lift, was in the completely down position, but it wasn't quite, so it's trying to pick them rear arms up and dropping oil out. That was a bit of an oversight. So anyway, we'll drain that oil out and run it up tomorrow and check the Hydrashift transmission. Okay, so I've got it running up to temperature now. I've just made this, well, this is actually part of that tractor, to do with the linkage. But anyway, I've got this, I've bent that end round. You'll see where I put that, I'll put it in the valve to operate it. So it's a bit noisy, but I'm going to go and move up the gears and you'll be able to see the different clutch packs moving. But whether you'll hear what I'm saying or not, I don't know. the pressure gauge should be about 90 psi, and that's pretty much what it is, and I'll show that. So at the moment, neither of the clutch packs are moving. So I'll now move this. That's it. If I move it 1d10, it should engage the front clutch pack. There it goes. That's the front one moving. Now move it one more and the back one can start. Oops, too far. Right, looks like I've got the same problem I had before. That front clutch pack's not engaging, why not? Okay, so we're going to have to look into this, but anyway, that is for pressure. Right, the pressure has dropped right back, look. To 70, okay, interesting. So the front pack working, it's on 80, on 90. So should be the third one working, and it's just running at 75 psi. I wonder why. Okay, so I think that's time to have a quick word with Barclay Williams. Okay, so I phoned up and spoke to Stuart at Barclay Williams, always as helpful as ever, and he put me through to the man himself, Barclay. He's given me some excellent tips on what to do and what can be a problem. He did point out, as I have already, I think, on this video, that the filtration on this is crap. And he said, drain the oil out, clean out the mesh filters as well, which I wasn't going to do. But on that advice, I will, seeing as how it's like this. Now, the other thing he's saying is where I put that new valve in, it would seem it's still the same problem, but they can stick in the body. So he's saying, take this valve chest, I guess you'd call it, off, and then using some 1200 emery paper, make a device up, which I'll probably show you in another video, and clean out or smooth out inside that body, and then use the same stuff on the actual new piece and get them shining like chrome, he was saying. So that's, I shall do that. I'll probably do that in another video because this one will go on too long otherwise. But yeah, if anyone has any problems, those guys, there's not much, well, there's not much Barclay doesn't know about these, but Barclay Williams in general, both him and Stuart, super helpful, and really they'll get any parts you need as well, as far as No, I've never had anything that they couldn't get hold of for these David Brown case tractors. Right, so we'll leave this one here, and hopefully the next one it will be further. I'll show you what was suggested to actually sort this problem out now.